The word GTM engineering has exploded, and rightfully so. But what are all these GTM engineers actually building? I think anyone that's actually any good at their job is building a GTM engine. And there's a lot of different ways to define this. There's a lot of other buzzwords, and I think things often get confused. So in this video, I really wanted to break down what exactly a GTM engine is and why they're so important for these next few years of business. And for anyone that's new to this channel, I'm basically trying to automate as much as GTM end to end and kind of publish my research and findings on that. So part one, I want to define what it isn't, because it isn't an agent, it isn't a CRM, it isn't a GTM engineer, it is a GTM engine, right? So in theory, a GTM engine could be one agent in theory. But I think when people describe it as one agent or they build a workflow with one agent, it oftentimes isn't actually a GTM engine, right? Same as like CRM automations, like it can be in theory, but most times I don't think people are actually referring to a GTM engine, right? These are very different components, and I think oftentimes the agents, CRM, and the engineer are all kind of components of the GTM engine. So how I'm defining the components, and I've seen a lot of people do it. I've seen a lot of other videos and a lot of other blogs and a lot of other people refer to it in different ways. And let me go over that a little bit more. I think for me, the core loop is in 3 parts. So I think it is observe, plan, and act. I think any good GTM engine has an amazing data foundation. So this could be data from your CRM, be market signals, be past campaigns, like what actually your personas are, your brand, like it's observing and like sensing everything, right? It's getting a really good foundation of your whole GTM, right? So once it has all that data from when it observes, then it can start to plan. So given everything above, given the fact that we are this brand in this market, targeting this ICP with these things that have worked before in these market conditions, what should we do to take more market share? So some sort of planning process. In a lot of the engines that I see, and we'll go over my framework later, you see the humans do a lot of the planning process. But once that planning process is done, either by humans or even by machines where they simulate, then it will act. So do we route these plans to an agent? Do we give this to a sales rep? Do we do this? So then it acts, it carries out the process, and then from there, it observes. So now we have an understanding of what it is. Let's actually look at what people are actually using them for now. So in one of my last blogs, we actually built a framework to basically evaluate how AI native GTM teams are. And I think a lot of the people that have GTM engines would probably be on level 2 to onwards, right? So you can kind of look at that video up there for context. But I think the really interesting data to look at on this and actually get like a good gauge of the landscape and where people are is you can look across 1,000 GTM engineering postings and kind of look at, okay, what are the top things that people want from GTM engineers when they're building these GTM engines or workflows. So the top one is build and automate GTM workflows. The second one is integrate GTM stack and tools. Third is own and optimize CRM. And looking at that data, you can kind of see everyone's at the lower end of the ladder because they're kind of at the stage now where they're wanting to actually build the first initial workflows, kind of have a very defined task and have workflows kind of carry out that. I think really the people doing data quality and hygiene, I would find, are probably on the larger ends, or they're starting in the correct way. So now we've got like a bit of an understanding of the market. I want to think about when not to build one, because yes, there are very much cases when you don't want to build one. I think if you don't have product market fit and you don't have good marketers or sales people on your team, because at the end of the day, you can't automate something that's not working, right? If you just try and give a sales and marketing problem to Claude and say build automations for it, and it's not even working for you without Claude, it's just not going to work very well, right? So I would really recommend find things that work manually first and then go to automate it. So like anytime I approach an automation problem, I always do it by hand first. So in conclusion, everyone right now is hiring for GTM engineers. You might be a GTM engineer yourself. I think it's just really important to know what's possible and what you should be building towards. If you're the GTM engineer or you want a GTM engineer and you don't understand these concepts, you don't understand what you're building towards, I think there's a whole other set of people that know exactly what a GTM engine is and know exactly the best practices, and they'll be miles ahead.
And if you got any value from this, my mission on this channel is to basically take GTM engineering as far as it can go. And that's level 5 for anyone that saw my framework video. And bi-weekly, I'm going to be publishing the best methods and findings from building this GTM engine. And a lot of this, for full disclosure, is going to be into my platform, Scale Intelligence. It basically provides the best buyer, signal, and GTM data for my agents and GTM team in real time. So we can automate things like lead generation, outbound, marketing, my CRM, etc., etc. Let me know in the comments any topics you'd like me to cover, and you can check out my newsletter for all my findings below.